want to say I really enjoy your music. Two songwriter friends of mine told me about it around a year ago, and if you could wear out the grooves on a digital, I would have worn out yours. So I really enjoy it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
You know, the thing I was most surprised to see in your biography is that you were a prize fighter at one point. You seem like the most peaceful guy anybody could think of.
Well, yeah, I was a professional boxer. I was at one time I was actually I was the number 9 ranked middleweight in the United States. And
wow.
Yeah, the thing I'm most known for in my boxing is a fight I lost, which in 1988 I fought on TV against Roberto Duran.
Wow. What do you remember about that fight the most?
Every fight I was ever in, I had about 50 fights altogether. I was always scared every time I went into the ring, and any fighter that says he won is lying. But the thing I remember most about fighting Duran, and you always hear his name as being one of the best, and he's known for his punching power, and yeah, he has punching power, but what really made him special to me, being in there with him, is how hard he was to hit. It was incredible. I mean, he was standing right on top. He was right close. I mean, I could feel his breath on my face. He was that close, and you would think you could hit him, but every time you would throw a punch, he had this ability. It's almost like when you throw a cat off a roof and it finds a way to land on its feet. You could not hit him, and if you did hit him, he would move his head in the direction of the punch and take all the impact off of it. And so, to me, to make a simple statement, his defense was incredible. I mean, I thought a lot of guys, and I could hit them. In a boxing match, it's hard to win when you can't hit your opponent.
Sounds almost supernatural.
It was. It's like he was like Michael Jordan. You can coach a bunch of kids how to play basketball, but only once in a blue moon does somebody have that little gift.
Yeah.
That makes them special, and he was like the Michael Jordan of boxing. It's a good best way I can describe it.
When I heard your song, "It's a Great Day," I wondered if that was a flashback to your boxing days.
No, that was just a joke song I wrote, and I just wrote it as a joke, and I played it on some syndicated radio shows just for fun, and it wound up catching fire, and it became sort of a working man's anthem, and they continued playing it after I left, and which I'm glad, they send me a check every quarter, which helps me feed my kids, so I'll take that.
Yeah. What do you think is the appeal of that, and why do you think people seem to know it by heart? I know people on the radio show start singing along, and they had never.
Well, it is a very simple sing-along song, and you can sing after you've heard the first chorus. You can sing the second one, and but when people are getting up in the morning, they're eating their bowl of Fruit Loops, and then they know that they got to go work in some factory somewhere for 8 hours, and maybe their boss is not a very nice person, and when you go through a day, you're gonna run into somebody whose ass you want whooped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this song is it's sort of a pop off. It gives everybody a little way to get a little frustration out when they sing the song.
Yeah. What age did you start playing music, and what age did you start writing at?
I started playing music and singing in church when I was 2 years old. And I started playing guitar when I was about 12. And, I grew up going to Pentecostal churches. My dad's a preacher, and we went to a lot of the black churches. Because that's just the way it was, and probably still is. There's a lot of segregation in religion. It's like Twain said, Sunday's the most segregated day of the week.
Yeah.
But I grew up going to black churches and white churches. That's where I got my mojo from.
Yeah. Are your parents still around?
Yeah, I just actually had breakfast with them. My mom cooked some. She had eggs, tenderloin, biscuit, and molasses on another biscuit for dessert.
Wow. How did they react to the song "Pimps and Preachers"?
I said every time I do. Well, I've never done an album that wasn't somewhat controversial in one kind of way. For some reason, you can't please everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But when I told my father about, first of all, that song "Pimps and Preachers" is a true song because my father was a preacher and his brother, my uncle, was a pimp. And when I was a kid, my uncle made his living off women for 10 solid years, and I saw it up close. So the time I spent with my father and my uncle was a great mentorship for me because I learned about the dark side of life and the bright side of life, and I learned that nobody's all good, and nobody's all bad. But when I played them the song and answered your question, I told them both it was a tribute and a way to say thank you for the mentorship they gave me, and in the end, they appreciated it. That was my hope, and that's what happened.
That is great. Is your writing process a continuous thing, or is it sporadic? Has it changed over the years?
It's sporadic because it's just like a marital sex. If you do it at a certain time of the week, at a specific time, it becomes boring. You gotta have that fun. You gotta have that. You know, some people say, well, it's Wednesday night. Friends just went off. I'll be in there in a minute. That's why it's not fun anymore. So I don't get up in the morning and say I'm gonna write a song. I go out and get in the world and see what's happening, and then every once in a while something will present itself in life that makes a good idea for a song.
Is there a song that you do every concert, or a song that you get requested every concert, or do you mix them up?
I mix them up, but there's a just off the top of my head, I have a song called "I Have a Good Day Every Now and Then," which it's sort of one of my crowd favorites, and that song came to be when I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone one time. His woman had left him, his wife had left him, and it took him a long time to get where he was even able to function. And then one day I called him. I said, "Man, are you doing okay?" And he said, "Well, I think I'm getting better because I have a good day every now and then."
Wow.
And when he said that, that stuck in my head, and I wrote it down. And, his name was Steve Ward. He was a good friend of mine, and sadly, even though he had that optimistic moment, the sorrow became so great that he took his own life.
Oh, bless his heart.
And he shot himself. And so, that song will always mean something to me because he meant something to me. And what person can't say that? Every day is not a great day, but you live for them good days every now and then. And that's why the good days are good, because they're special and they're infrequent.
Oh, as to your new album, how is it similar and how is it different than the ones that have come out before, would you say?
Well, the glaring difference is, this is my 10th album, and all of the albums previous to this, I wrote every single song on the record. And this album is actually an album of covers, and but they're obscure songs by artists that most people have never heard of that I know personally, and these songs have really touched me in one way or another. And so for the first time in my career, I've done an album of covers, and I'm really excited about it because it'll give me a chance to say, hey, y'all, check out these other guys that you never heard of. The quality of the songs is top. I mean, I wouldn't cut these songs just because they're my friends. I picked these songs because they're incredible songs.
How did you come up with the name Perpetual Obscurity for a label?
Well, my first record, when it came out, I was on a major label, A&M Records, and like most major label records, it didn't become a hit. So I got dropped by the label. So after that, me and my songwriting partner Billy Maddox decided to make up our own label. And since we were relatively unknown, we just, as a joke, called it Perpetual Obscurity Records. And so even now that we have more of a profile and a bigger fan base, we thought it'd be cool just to keep it because it's a good reminder of where you came from, and it makes you feel happier each day with the success that you're getting.
Yeah. One last thing. The friends of mine who told me about your music told me to ask about how Pop-Tart is and to say that she is your most effective marketer by far.
Oh, yeah. Pop-Tart's my little daughter. She's 8 years old. Her real name's Bella, but when she was born, I cut the umbilical cord, and I was standing there holding her in my arm, and I said, she is so sweet. She looks like a Pop-Tart. And so I started calling her Pop-Tart, and so that's kind of stuck. And just for joke, I got a new record coming out May the 8th, but I make little videos and put them on Facebook to encourage people to pre-order the record, because if they pre-order it, all the pre-order sales will go toward my first week's chart position on the Billboard 200.
Wow.
And so, the last time I did a record, it broke the top 100. And for an independent, we were very proud of that. And this time we're trying to go into the top 50. So I'm doing these little commercials. So a couple of days ago, I just got a little Pop-Tart to hold my CD and say, hey, y'all, buy my daddy's CD. And I put it on Facebook, and people responded, you know, because how can you say no to a little cute girl with her front teeth out?
Absolutely. Did she ever get to travel with you?
No, she's in school right now. I mean, she'll come to shows every once in a while, but she's a second grader, man. You know, she's got a routine she needs to be in, and luckily and thankfully, she has a great mother that's my wife, and who's a great help in my life, and you know, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that they will have a good life, you know, and that I can stay close to all of them too.
I hear you. Well, have a safe trip, and we look forward to seeing you in Birmingham.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thanks for your time, because it's really going to help.
Well, thank you, Paul. Have a good one.
Okay, buddy. Bye.
Bye-bye.